You guys probably know, you've heard me say it time and time again now, I'm really digging my Nintendo Switch. Sure, as someone who also plays PC games, yeah, it's underpowered, but I feel like once you get over that, it's a fun system, and I'll take every excuse to get my hands on it with a new game. And ARMS is the newest Nintendo Switch game, and it's actually fucking really good. ARMS is interesting because it showed up at the Nintendo Directs, it showed up at the Nintendo Switch announcements, and I could not give two shits. I was like, this game, not for me. It looks very much like one of those Nintendo games that are trying to jump into the pantheon of the Zeldas and Links and Mario and Kirby and shit like that. And it didn't really seem to fit, and it seemed very gimmick based, and I just don't really like motion controlled stuff. I'm done with that stuff. So I completely 100% wrote ARMS off, not expecting it to be anything that was really going to be up my alley. But once I started playing it, I couldn't stop, and I really, really enjoy it. I love it even more with friends. It's challenging, it's balanced, it's deep enough, it's like complex enough where it's fun to pick up and have fun with, but it's difficult to master. Maybe not as complex as a real fighting game like something like Street Fighter or Tekken, but there's some good fun to be had, I'm serious. And believe it or not, I know some people that are kind of mixed on this. Some people play with a pro controller or just controller mode, and a lot of people play with motion controls. Nintendo themselves have been really pushing the motion control thing, and I gotta say, that's how I really like to play it. I'm very curious to see if like it's gonna pick up like how Splatoon diehards are adamant on using the motion control for aiming. I think it should be the same with ARMS. I think it just makes the game 10 times more fun, and I felt more precise with motion controls. Now, they're not perfect. Sometimes when I block, it doesn't really work how I would want it to in the game, but throwing punches and being able to curve punches just feels so good and awesome with motion controls. And when you do land a curve punch, even like say around an object in the game and yet knock someone, it feels really good. It's interesting because it's like, it's part fighting game, part goofy Nintendo game, part boxing game, and I like boxing, and this is cartoon, stupid boxing, so I'm all in. I don't think it's a perfect fighting game system. There are some problems that I am going to get into, but like I said, the fact that I have fun is paramount, and some of that comes through the different characters, because they all feel slightly different. There's heavy type characters that can take a punch or two without flinching. There's the more mobile, agile characters that can jump and dodge faster, and then there's the weird characters with very specific types of attacks that you really got to get used to. But thankfully, there's a little progression here and there where you can earn coins and then spend to unlock new arms that you can equip that have different attributes and just different punching styles. And that, for me, was enough to really kind of keep me hooked a little bit longer. While the characters aren't completely memorable, they do make me smile, they're fun, and I do think they're distinct enough and it works. But speaking of distinct, like I kind of mentioned before, the level design here, I really, really like some of the things they do here. You have your basic levels, it's just an arena, and you punch each other. Then there are levels with objects in the middle, blocking you, certainly kind of shielding you, which you can kind of maneuver and, position yourself around, because that's what ARMS is really about. Yeah, it's not always about who can just punch the most, but it's about who's smart, who times things well, who blocks, and also positioning and space and speed and dodging and stuff like that. And positioning in levels is important, and it seems like they really gave a shit because the levels are just so damn good. There's also levels where you can hop on moving platforms and they fly around and you kind of get the high ground. And of course you can play alone. There's like a tournament mode that you work your way up the ladder, but there's varying levels of difficulty you can play it as, and it gets kind of really freaking hard. But there's also a bunch of different modes, multiplayer and single player, like a volleyball mode, which is pretty fun. There's a slam dunk contest that has to do with grabs, which I also think is pretty cool. And there's like a target practice mode, and these modes aren't perfect. Some people said that they're like insanely deep and they'll keep them playing forever. I don't quite think so, but I do like playing them with friends, and I do like playing them online in party mode. There's ranked matches and hardcore stuff if you want, but party mode kind of takes you and puts you in an actual party and rotates random game modes with different variations that you can just play and have fun with other people online, and I like that a lot. I've gotten a lot of life out of that, and I was really surprised. Like I said though, every once in a while the fighting isn't totally accurate. Maybe that's the Joy-Cons and not necessarily the game. Blocking can be an issue sometimes. I've also noticed online that grab spamming is very real. A grab move in the game is an unblockable attack. You can knock it away, you can dodge it, but I do see people abuse it, and it's annoying when you first start playing, but once you actually really start to get the ins and outs of the games, someone can throw blocks at you left and right, and if you're smart enough, you can know when to deflect them or when to dodge. Because like I said, it's all about timing and positioning and doing the right thing at the right time, not just trying to kill people like crazy. Because the biggest question with ARMS is like, it's a $60 game, and it's just a very basic content light fighting game. I don't think it's content light as something as, say, like Street Fighter when that first launched, but I get it if you don't want to spend $60 on this game. But I do think if you have people to play with, if you have like a family that likes Nintendo Switch Switch games and stuff, I think there's a lot of fun to be had in your living room and online too. But I mean, everybody's different with a game like this. Me personally, I think I got my money's worth out of it. I mean, we play it at game ranks all the time in the office on breaks and stuff. I play it at home at night. Sometimes I play it with friends. We bring it over. We just set it up on a table. Actually like the Nintendo Switch commercials, I shit you not. And honestly, I was just genuinely surprised. I didn't expect this game to be this much fun. It was definitely a game that I looked at and I said, nope, I don't want that. That's not really my thing. And here I am having a blast with it, getting competitive, and my arms are getting sore because I play the game so much. It just means I'm weak. But that is how I'm feeling on ARMS. Nintendo Switch people, if you're in there, I definitely want to know what you guys are thinking. And if you're not a Switch player, maybe you're a fighting game fan, I want to know what you're thinking with this. Like, do you think the systems are enough to really feel competitive enough for you to jump on board? Or maybe you just hate Nintendo and you hate this game. I want to hear from you too. Whatever. Let's talk down in the comments. I'll be down there talking to you guys, but I'm also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jake Baldino. You know that. But thank you guys very much for coming around, joining me to the road to 100,000 subscribers. That's crazy. Thanks for listening to me ramble about this stuff. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. You know the deal. I'm Jake Baldino. Thanks for watching, and you can subscribe because video games. Was it cringy that way? I'm Jake Baldino. Subscribe because video games. That was worse. That was forced. I can never do this stuff. I'm not cut out for this life.